Hi, I'm Margie from Margie Lewis Art, and a couple days ago I posted some pictures of some very interesting things, and I had some questions, and somebody wanted to know what I was doing with the things that I had. One of them was this thing called Floetrol. It's Floetrol, which is going to be used in an acrylic pour, what some people call flow art. So I have a wood panel, just a basic birch wood panel, which I've gessoed over, and there's so many different ways that I could do my pours. My thought today is probably I'll do a swipe, just so that you can see. And I've been here for about an hour now mixing up some paint. All my paint has been mixed and ready because you really didn't want to watch me mix paint for an hour. So I'm just going to tell you what I did to get my paint mixed, and then we'll do this. And this is the first time for me to be using Floetrol, so you're in for a treat. Okay, so I mix all of my paint colors in one cup like this, and for every color I have a different cup. And to measure my, or I guess my recipe, it's 1 part paint and 2 parts Floetrol. So this is a 1 ounce little cup, and this one's a 2 ounce cup. So I put my paint in here to measure it and put it into the larger clear cup. And this is the one I use for Floetrol, so this is actually double the amount of that one. So it's 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint. And once I mix it all through, I added 1 part alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and I also added water, 1 part water. And some people use GAC 80. This is GAC 80 from Golden. It's a pouring acrylic extender. It stops the paint from what they call crazing. So that will minimize the crazing effect, which is basically the paint on the top dries and it goes, the paint underneath don't be dry. So it ends up with cracks and breaks in your pour. When I finished mixing my paint, I added this silicone lubricating oil, which is for treadmill. You can use this, I know I'm saying every 5 minutes. This is an oil. This is avocado, olive, almond oil, but it has an ingredient in there called dimethyl. I can't even say it. Dimethyl. Anyway, if you can use the same thing. You can also use WD-40, which is similar, has similar properties. So for my pour, you need some gloves too. I have a roasting pan with some paint stir sticks, just so that my canvas or my panel is raised off, so the paint will flow down through. I've got a similar thing over here for some other things I'm going to do, but I'm using a oven tray and this cookie, whatever you call that, rack, cooking rack. The paints that I used for this pour is just basics, Liquitex Basic paint. You can use basically any acrylic paint. We've used the Deco Art paints from the dollar store, and they work really well. I just wanted to try tube paint and see how that goes. So I have all my paint mixed, and the colors that I have used are, this one is Cad Yellow Medium Hue. I have Cad Red Deep Hue. I have a black Mars Black, and I have a Cad Red Light. I have Titanium White, and I have a Cerulean Blue Hue. So those are the ones we're going to be using. So I put my Floetrol in my paint, mix it together first before I add all of the other stuff, and you would do the same if you were adding any other medium for flow painting, like the GAC. So when you mix, it should really be like a thin paint so that it'll flow easier. That's kind of the consistency of like warm honey, pancake mix, something along those lines. So I got my paints mixed, and what I'm going to do actually is called a dirty pour, and I'm going to do a flip cup for the dirty pour on the end, and I'm going to use my white on one side. Actually, no, I'm not going to do a dirty pour, but I'll tell you what a dirty pour is. Basically, you're going to take each color and you're just going to tip it in and pour it down. And when you're finished and you got all your colors in this big one, you basically lay it on your canvas and flip up. And when everything is run down, you just lift the cup and the paint goes wherever it is that you want it to go. I'm just going to pour some out actually for this, because I want to do a swipe, what's called the swipe, and I'm going to use some paper towel actually for that. So for this one, I'm just going to use some primary colors, and so that's primary colors are yellow, red, and blue, and so we'll use that for the swipe, and they're all mixed fairly well. And I'm going to use white actually for my swipe itself. So basically I'm just going to pour out some paint wherever. I don't know, sometimes I'm just going to just pour this out, and hopefully if I mix things properly, I will be able to get some really nice colors mixing up within my paint, and we'll see what's called cells, and I guess that's kind of the goal of most of the acrylic pours, is to have cells in your pour. Actually, I'm going to add a bit of this. This looks orange, but it's really a Cad red, so still primary, sort of primary color. I really like orange a lot. It's one of my favorite colors. So, these colors, while they're here, will all mix together. Alright. So now I'm going to use white for my swipe color. And white is kind of denser, heavier than the other colors, so it actually sinks down through. I think it makes a really good color for these pours. Okay, so I got my colors all on there, and it's pretty full. So I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm going to use some water I got in my little trusty spray thing, just so that it'll stick to the paint on the bottom. So swipe is actually, I'm a messy person. Swipe is just basically what it sounds like. I'm going to make contact with the white paint, and I'm just going to drag that paint up over the other colors. So when I got a really good contact with the paint, I just pull really slowly so that my white paint is hauled across the other colors. And hopefully you'll see some little some activity here, and some cells will pop up. I'm not really sure what it's gonna look like or what it's gonna turn out like. Little rainbow. Actually, I'm hauling it around the sides so that the sides will get done as well. So if you look closer, you can come closer. My husband is my camera person right now. You can see all these little rings coming up, and that's what I was hoping for. That's what we call cells, and that's caused, some of it is caused by the oil, but some of it is also a result of the Floetrol. So I'm just going to tip this back a little and stretch some of those out. There's a lot of paint on here. When you save, you can save some of this paint that dries on the bottom. They're called skins when they dry, and they actually make really nice jewelry. Oh, look at the cells coming. So I'm just going to let that sit for a few minutes and use my other paper towel to take off some of my paint on my hands. While these are popping up here, I am actually going to use a heat source to actually pop some of the bubbles that are in here. And I have this little tiny, cost $10. It's actually just got a cigarette lighter inside. And if I can get it to work, I'm not very good at holding down. But what this does, if you look close, wherever the heat strikes it, you can see some of these, like, more cells are going to pop up. They just kind of, it looks like I'm spray painting it there now, but I just, I'm not very good at this thing. So really, look at that. So pretty. I have a heat gun, and you can actually use a hair dryer. Do the same thing with a hair dryer. So I'm back. My little tiny heat source wasn't doing the job I wanted it, so I guess since you were here, you could see there's a lot more cells formed, and I'm just going to apply a little bit more heat to them because I really want some of the cells to pop up in this white section and get rid of some of those bubbles. And I really don't have it on very high. So I like how they are right now, and I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to just do some tilting here because I want some of those cells to stretch, and I went, oops, definitely stuck on already. So I'm just going to tilt it a little bit and see if I can't get some of those cells to stretch a little bigger and pour off some of that extra paint. I actually like the orange that's there. So it's kind of like a leveler, this Floetrol stuff. Flowing and dripping and stretching. Oh, reminds me of a peacock. Okay. I look around and all of my ends and my corners are they're all done, all covered. I'm just gonna tilt off a little bit more paint. I don't know about you, but I really like it. I'm so excited to see all those cells, I can tell you. Because I've tried this a bunch of different ways and didn't always turn out the way I wanted it to. Dripping. So I'm not really liking this piece down here. I'm just going to make sure that corner is done, but I'm going to stretch towards the other corner. Okay. You waste a lot of paint. I'm liking that. So I think that's kind of where I'm gonna let it sit and let it dry. I'm gonna actually transfer it from here over to that little drying rack so I can do some other pours. I'm gonna follow up this video with a little some string pour. I want to try the feather method, and I will record that and I'll post that as well. Anyway, that's it. When I finish this, when it's dry in a couple of days, I'm going to use a resin over the top and make it like a hard coated thing. I should be using something called art resin, but I'm here and the closest thing I could get to resin was a marine resin, fiberglass resin. So I'm going to use that, and it shouldn't be much different. I've gone through 4 pairs of gloves for one pour. Okay, the microphone on there. Mm-hmm. All right, so I just finished doing a swipe. So now I'm going to actually do a pour. I think I'm going to do a string pour. And I'm going to use black for the base coat. These canvases are already, like they're already gessoed over. Got a bit of paint spilled on that one from the previous thing. So I'm just going to use this as a base coat for my little string pour. I'm going to use a black one for for this one. And hopefully this will work out. Sometimes I paint with my fingers. This is not my typical type of art. Generally, I'm doing some landscapes, and I tried out some portrait painting. I'm actually fairly new at painting. I painted a long time ago when I was in my 20s. I went to a couple of lessons, and I ended up with carpal tunnel, so I wasn't able to. Gonna need new gloves again. I wasn't able to paint for a long time, and I actually never thought I'd be able to paint again because it was so severe. Anyway, last year, this time, not too long, I found a paintbrush, and I thought, I really missed painting, and I thought maybe I would try to do it again and see. So I got my string. That's probably a bit long, so I have scissors here. I'm going to cut this string because this is a very short thing. So I got a black base for that one. I'm going to probably use a white base for the other one. So I'm going to just take my string, and I'm going to use the shorter one. And this is a string pour, but I'm actually going to do what's called a feather technique, I guess, with this one. So I'm just using red paint, and I'm going to make sure it's not too much. It's kind of hard to control. Here I am with no gloves on, but that's typical for me. So essentially, I'm just going to lay my string down, and for the feather technique, you just kind of haul it back through. Oh, that didn't work because it's way too much black. Okay, so that didn't work. That didn't work. So I pelt some of this off. You can see some of the red in there. What do you think of that? It definitely did not work. Maybe I'll try white. White will show up. Paper towel. I think I'm going to try white. So this is like my first video ever for showing what I'm doing. I'm going to soak my white one here. Oh, I forgot to mention I use popsicle sticks for stir sticks. Alright, maybe white will show up a lot better. I'm going to scrape some of that off. A bit much. Alright, so let's try this again. Oh, it looks like I took off some paint, so I'm going to leave my white. Just sit for a second. This should work. So basically, for a feather, go down on one side. And now it's all black on there. So you put the thing there again and just follow the same thing. And pull it down towards you. So here's my little feather. Actually, I'm going to, from the corner, I'm going to probably ruin this, but I'm just going to haul my down through. I'm not really happy with how that turned out there. So I'm going to pull it again and see. Nope. And I think I'm going to use my palette knife. I've got a little bit of white paint here. So it didn't exactly turn out what I wanted, but I can fix it with my palette knife, I hope. And usually on the ends of your feathers, you kind of got a little bit of this going on. Not quite what I was hoping to see, but it's interesting looking all the same. So I'm going to leave that alone and let it dry. Actually, I'm going to put a little bit of heat on it just to bring out some of those cells in that white part of the paint. Actually, I don't mind that red so much. I think I'll add a little bit of some pops of color here. Maybe we'll call them puddles. I have some, even yellow might show up really nice on this. I'm going to just now I'm just being creative. A little tiny bit more. So there you go. So that's that one. So this one here is a similar idea, but what I'm going to try to do with the string is actually make some flowers. And probably better off using white for the base. So I'm going to just use that. I'm going to use my palette knife, actually. A little plastic palette knife. Is not the one I use for painting. I'm going to just tip this and use my palette knife to spread the paint around a bit. I'm noticing some little lumps in there. There's a trick for that. When you're pouring your paints, probably because it dried up a little bit. But I got some pantyhose. You put that down over whatever you're pouring from. Maybe some elastic band over it. And from that, it'll stop those little chunky things from going onto your paint. I think I probably need a little bit more heat. And I'm not worried about it going down over the sides because I'm planning on painting the sides after anyway. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. I can hear my dog snoring. Ooh. They're usually barking. It's not very I'm going to do a really quick dirty pour. Same paint, everything's same. Basically, I'm taking my paint and I'm pouring them into the larger cup. And I'm going to use blue, and I'm going to use red, and I'm going to use some black, and I'm going to use some of this other color, orangey color, and I'm even going to use yellow. Why not? It needs enough paint. Alright, so I was going to do so basically it's a dirty pour. I'm going to use this strainer because I saw some lady do this, so I want to know how it's going to turn out. So in my cup is all my paints, and I'm going to use this strainer to, oh, probably not going to work out the way she had it. It's all muddy. So that's pretty interesting looking. So we're not going to use that. I'm going to lay it over here, and I would normally do a flip cup, but I am going to do a flip cup, but I'm going to use this thing. So hopefully, and I'm just going to slide it off. And that's the flip cup. I'm all experimenting. That's what I'm doing. So once the paint gets all settled down, you never know what I'm going to end up with. So here we go. Lift that up. I'm going to put some of that on the corners. It's not the most interesting. There's a lot of mud. But we'll see what happens here now. Okay, so I'm just going to, whoops. There's a lot of cells in here. I kind of like that, actually. Before anything else happens, I'm going to heat this up and bring out some little cells. Okay, I'm going to tilt down over the corner on my side, make sure my sides are all done. And looks like I'm running out of space on my phone. I'm getting a message from my hubby. Ooh, this is really cool. So I'm just going to let that sit now, and my cells are kind of, some of them are stretched. And so, since I'm running out of space, I'm just going to turn this off and do around the edges, and I'll take a picture and show you what it looks like when it's all done. Thanks for watching.